Christian on this Sunday afternoon. So glad that you're with us on WDAY Extra. Again, that's Greg Steeman. I'm Colin Holt. We'll hear from Logan Campbell in a little bit, but we are ready to go from the shack where NDSU has yet to lose a game. And Greg, it sounds so cliche, but you just got to think that for NDSU coach Dave Richmond, this one's really not about the score.
No, it's not. And he'll be the first one to tell you that. It's about execution. It's about maintaining a level of discipline. It's about not falling into bad habits that allow you to get by with things that you wouldn't normally get by with against a higher level team.
Oak Hills Christian, a team out of the NCC 2A. They are 2-8 this year. Emmanuel Coffey averaged 7 points per game last year. He had 20 points in a loss to Waldorf a couple weeks ago. And other than that, there's not a whole lot that we know ahead of time. They're led by Tom Haldeman, and we're going to learn a lot about this Oak Hills Christian team as the game goes on.
Yeah, and I think you have a lot of kids for Oak Hills that maybe haven't played a ton of basketball in their lives, but it's an opportunity to play at the collegiate level. And there's just, we talked about drastically differing levels of talent out here, but I think you're going to see NDSU respect them by playing a disciplined brand of basketball.
Showed you Tom Haldeman. He's the interim head coach, so his first year leading this squad as NDSU wins the opening tip, and just like that, we're underway.
Just Oak Hills coming out in a 2-3 zone, and they do get it inside. North Dakota State gets it inside Andrew Morgan, and there's no answer once he gets it within range of the basket. That's just too tall of a task to overcome.
She'll starting lineup. You can see how Oak Hills rolls out, and Andrew Morgan gets our first points of the day. We see this Wolfpack offense for the first time. That's Nash Cheney. He's from Hawaii, and he tries to step around Jakari White and comes up short.
Yeah, nice job by White just to stay disciplined, stay down, not leave the foot. And there he turns it over in transition.
Coffey with the lay-in, and Oak Hills Christian's on the board to even it at 2.
Just a careless mistake right there by White. I don't think we'll see any more of him like that out of him, but heck of a job by Coffey to have active hands and turn a turnover into an easy 2.
Javis Miller into the corner for Skunberg, and White with another mistake and another turnover.
Yeah, and that's he's saying he did not. Jakari White didn't think he left the floor, but if you leave the floor, the one thing you cannot do is dribble the ball. You can pass it, you can shoot it, and we couldn't tell. He thought he kept his left foot down, but that was a travel. If you go into a dribble, that's a turnover.
There's Deacon Bach out of Blaine, Minnesota. They've got a few Minnesota guys on this school from Bemidji, and the Bison in transition. Foul called as Wheeler Thomas goes up with it.
Well, on the other end, active hands that time by Skunberg, able to turn over Oak Hills. Nice lead pass to Wheeler Thomas, not able to finish, but goes to the foul line.
Guy we talked about in the pregame, into his sophomore year, obviously 28 starts as a freshman. That's so much of that last year on this NDSU team. Now they're a year older, and
yeah, they're still young, but they're seasoned. I mean, they're experienced young players with a lot of battle scars to back that up. And you know, they're not your typical sophomores. They've got a load of experience. And Wheeler Thomas, Waddles, who's checked into the game for White, Miller we talked about. Just a group that has really grown, and they've needed to because NDSU expects them to.
Cheney too strong off the window.
Nice job by the Wolfpack, doing a lot of curling off screen action.
Long 3 on the way from Miller. It's the back iron, and this will be Oak Hills basketball. The 6'3" Nash Cheney trying to go to work on the 6'10" Andrew Morgan.
Yeah, those are battles that are not easy to win, especially in a one-on-one manner. That's why you see the Wolfpack sitting in that 2-3 zone. They'll collapse around some of those bigger bodies and maybe hope North Dakota State doesn't have it, isn't lighting things up from behind the arc.
Coffey, senior from New Jersey, gives it up. Shot clock down to 5. Cheney's got to let it go, and he does at the buzzer. Boy, he's had a couple of good looks.
Yeah, he had a nice job getting himself in position to throw the runner. Nice pass from Skundberg to Miller, just not able to finish, but he stays with it and gets the easy 2.
Coffee to Bryson Keepers, a sophomore from Wisconsin. Up top to Sam Moulton, spinning through the lane and just not falling for Oak Hills, but an offensive rebound. Coffee triggers a 3 and comes up short.
Well, nice activity on the offensive glass by Oak Hills, creating a second shot opportunity. Wheeler Thomas with a clean look from behind the arc.
And left wide open, makes him pay. Wolfpack getting ready to make some changes as Chaney launches a 3. Waddles going quick to the hoop, and he banks it home.
Great recognition by Waddles that Morgan had sprinted the floor and did a nice job of getting Chaney on his back, and Waddles recognizes that, just attacks the left side of the basket with Chaney being trapped behind Morgan. Easy layup. Good recognition.
Keepers to Bach off the screen. And a good step to the basket. Josiah Moulton lays it in the first bucket in a while for Oak Hills Christian.
Yeah, no backside defense there for North Dakota State. A little uncharacteristic. Usually they have good vision off the ball. That time, player beats the primary defender and no resistance at the rim.
Morgan using his height inside. He drops it in.
And that's young man for Oak Hills. Keepers kind of running down the floor, shrugging his shoulders, going, what am I supposed to do about that? And there's really nothing he can do. Morgan's just strong enough to go up and over the top.
Coffee from way outside. It's kept in play by Morgan.
Oak Hills continue to stay in that 2-3 zone. Can they keep the ball out of Morgan's hands?
Oh, he gets it with a defender on his back and finishes again.
Well, that time the backside defender, you're going to see a timeout so he can tie his shoelace, or he broke a shoelace.
Bison getting ready to check some fresh legs onto the floor as well. It's a 10-point lead for the Bison over Oak Hills Christian. We continue on WDAY Extra after this. Tis the season for basketball action of all kinds on WDAY Extra. We've got a great girls high school matchup for you between the defending champs of Central Cass and their bitter rivals Kindred. Should be a good one. Join us 7:30 on Monday. Bison have made some changes. Derek Dissett into the game. Jeremiah Burke, we see him for the first time tonight. Been a difference maker in the minutes that he's gotten.
Really has, and he's an energy guy, and I've just kind of labeled him somebody who just goes and gets possessions, then also creates some offense off of that those opportunities.
Coffee looking down low, and it's turned over. This is Bison basketball. Logan, you were standing by that NDSU huddle.
Yeah, I was, Cullen. Dave Richmond told his team it's simple. If you're going to mess around out there, you're coming out of the game. He said, I need you guys to run the floor, run the plays, and you need to play hard.
Saw Noah Feddersen touch the ball, the redshirt freshman out of Wisconsin, who had a great game on Monday.
And, you know, to Logan's point, you demonstrate your respect for the opponent by playing with high energy, by running the floor hard, by executing at a high level. Don't. There you are. There's Burke. That's how Burke creates his offense, Cullen.
Energy guy on display right there, right?
Absolutely. Just love him hanging around the rim and creating those extra opportunities. But back to Dave Richmond's point, and it's not easy. It's not easy to pour it on somebody without maybe backing off a little bit unintentionally. It's not something that you want to do. It's just not easy to maintain that elevated level of focus when things are coming so easy for you.
Knutson trying to go to Andrew Levin, and it bounces into the arms of the Bison. So a long three from Waddles, nothing but nylon.
We continue to say that about Waddles. I think he's one of the best catch and shoot guys in the Summit League. Beautiful stroke, usually has his feet ready, and there's Wheeler Thomas showing
Damari.
Yep, showing his energy on the defensive end.
Kari White waiting by the scorer's table for NDSU. Good cut from Coffee, maybe shuffled the feet a bit. Knutson has it at the point, and a contested jumper that's off the mark. Rebound grabbed by Derek Doucette.
Yeah, if you're the coach for Oak Hills, you know, that's what you want to do is you want to be able to get a shot every time down the floor. You don't want to turn it over a ton. There's a missed shot by Burke, but he keeps it alive, and Waddles fires. And
why not? In and out that time. There is Burke for the offensive board and the putback.
And that's the goal is, hey, try to get shots up. Don't be careless with the ball. NDSU is going to be aggressive defensively. A lot of length out there to overcome, so the percentage might not be great, but as long as you're not turning over, you give yourself a chance.
Knocked out of the hands of Moulton and out of bounds as Jakari White comes into the game for Wheeler Thomas. NDSU gets a week off after this. Visit Illinois State on Sunday.
Yeah, I would guess you're probably getting to where there's some finals going on and things like that, and get those finished up, and then 2 quality road games for North Dakota State, Illinois State, and Southern Illinois. You know, I think very much Summit League type games that prepare you for the upcoming conference schedule.
White lets it fly, and there's Burke again, just hanging around the rim.
That's, you know, you wonder how a guy like that can put up the offense he does without having anything run for him, and that's exactly it. Flies in, has a knack for getting to where the ball's coming off. I think he reads it very well.
A big block.
Yeah, nice pass by Cheney. Looking to find 11.
21-point lead, doing it on both ends of the floor. The block by Waddles. Back in a bit. A lot of guys will see the floor for NDSU as you see the Oak Hills Christian coach, Tom Haldeman. We've already seen quite a few Bison check in. We'll see a couple more on the floor in a bit as NDSU leads 25-4 back on WDAY Extra with Greg Steeman. I'm Colin Holtz. Logan Campbell will join us with Dave Richmond in just a moment. His team with a 21-point lead and coming out of the break after a big block by Lance Waddles. So let's go to Logan with Dave Richmond.
Thanks, Colin. Dave, you told me you want your team to play with urgency, maturity, and focused. Are you liking what you're seeing so far?
Tell Dom it's his job to remind me about these 12-minute media marks. Yeah, no, we're good. I mean, we had a careless turnover to start, but we settled in. It was good.
All right, thank you, Dave.
As long as you show up, it counts, right?
Yep. And I like the fact that Dave still rips Dom even when he's not here. You know what I mean? I think that's Dom's earned that, and it's good to see.
Caleb Howard into the game. Guy out of Rapid City. And another turnover. Thread the needle through to Jeremiah Burke.
Those are the other things that will happen in a game like this, is those highlight type plays, and just love Burke's energy. He doesn't seem to know how to play any other way. Junior college All-American, I think, was really maybe a surprise, a pleasant surprise addition to this group that Dave has, and I think really complements what they do. And
now it's Waddles' turn. Timeout, OHCC. NDSU starting to put together a bit of a highlight reel, up 25.
Yeah, and it's a 30, and you got to do this if you're coach, but it's just the difference in experience level, the difference in talent level, and you don't want to continue to talk about it, but you really have to, because that's the explanation for the disparity on the scoreboard.
You mentioned, well, that's a nasty jam. You mentioned not turning the ball over is a good way to try to close the gap, but Oak Hills over the last couple of minutes, they've been a lot more careless with the basketball than they were at the beginning.
I agree with you. That's a great observation, Colin, and it's not easy against a team in NDSU that focuses on ball pressure and getting in the passing lanes and creating some turnovers, but you just have to be tough enough with the ball in your hands and make the easy pass. Don't keep looking for the great pass. The easy pass will typically lead to better scoring opportunities and trying to make a great one.
You know, in the first 2 or 3 minutes, we saw a lot of screens, a lot of good action, good looks. And right now, NDSU's pressure just a little much.
I'm with you on that. I think, and to NDSU's credit, they've taken a lot of that away. Now you see it get back to some of the screening action, curling action, and ball reversal. Then you end up with more easy opportunities to make passes.
Coffee to Trent Hundard, freshman Minnesota native. Long three from the big man is off the mark, and Waddles has it.
Yeah, he had a clean look. That was a much better possession for Oak Hills just because they took care of the ball.
White open corner three, bang. Bison are over the 30-point mark. Oak Hills looking for point number 5. Hunter, baseline jumper, just not falling.
And they have been able to get some clean looks. Nice job by Strite to run the floor.
Josh Strite into the game. There's Burke through contact, and he's headed to the line.
And that's what you like to see if you're Dave Richmond. Just continue to stay disciplined. Don't settle for the early three, because you're going to have a lot of open threes early. Are you moving the ball? Are you creating high percentage opportunities? That's a mindset that if you're NDSU, you don't ever want to go away from that. Regardless of the level of team you're playing, continue to attack the paint and then work inside out. And I think Dave Richmond wants to continue to emphasize that. And to NDSU's credit, they're accomplishing that in this game.
Burke from the line gets his 10th point of the day. And checks out as DeJavis Miller comes in.
We talked about the bodies. Hastrider on the floor for North Dakota State, young man out of Lincoln, who's kind of working his way back from an early season injury, trying to become a rotation guy.
But when he gets going from beyond the arc, and this could be a game that could be a real confidence booster for him as a shooter. Good defense there, and a little too much contact down low.
Yeah, they're going to put Coffee on the line, and that's a good job by Coffee, recognizing that he had a lane to penetrate. Anytime you can get action to the rim, regardless of the level of team you're playing, that's positive for your team. Gets himself to the line.
9:35 left in the first, and our first foul of the game for NDSU. Called on Strite. And Oak Hills Christian, they're 2-0 in their conference. Last year 8-17, but they went 8-4 in their conference play.
Yeah, it's I mean, like I say, it's a lot of very similar level teams. And you just talked about a Cullen Hastrider. That's all it took was you to kind of inspire him.
Well, you've heard of the broadcaster jinx. We're flipping it on its head here today.
There you are. Nice job.
44% from 3 last year. The hustle from Wheeler Thomas.
Yeah, and does a nice job of getting in the pass. Really nice kick out 3 in transition. Nobody picks up White. Thomas finds him.
Does that go back to what you were talking about, wanting to see NDSU run the offense in transition instead of forcing it?
Exactly. And that's the thing. And there's a big difference between taking a shot in transition and taking a shot early in a 5-on-5 situation. I like open threes in transition because I think it really increases your ability to get on the offensive glass when they do get missed because you have a numbers advantage. But if they're in a 5-on-5 situation against this zone, you're going to get some early threes, but you don't necessarily need to take them. Take those late in the possession because you can get them anytime. Look for higher percentage opportunities early in the possession, especially when you're in 5-on-5 in the half court.
Hands by Coffee.
Yeah, I think it got tipped by Coffee, and I think it went off Wheeler Thomas too, though. I think they both hit it. I think he was just trying to sell it because he knew he couldn't get it back.
Caleb Hauer will put it in play.
Back to your point earlier, Cullen, it's transition, in my opinion, and take that for what it's worth, but anytime you have a person advantage and the half-court defense hasn't been able to be established, that's a transition opportunity. And that's why you look, and then you want to be able to recognize the difference between those and when the opponent's in a 5-on-5 situation.
Ball movement leads to another 3 for White.
And that is a transition opportunity. Oak Hill's never established themselves. Excellent job by NDSU to make the extra pass up a good shot for a great one.
White now 3 of 4 from downtown. Bison force another turnover. With 7:43 to go, they lead up 43-5 on this Sunday afternoon. NDSU, fun to watch on offense. Back in a bit. 43-5, NDSU men's basketball on top of Oak Hills Christian on WDAY Extra. With Craig Steeman and Logan Campbell, I'm Colin Holtz. The Bison getting a lot of guys, a lot of playing time.
Yeah, they are. And just for the viewers, yes, all the lights on the scoreboard are working. It's just vastly different levels of basketball teams facing off of each other. Now, some people will say, why is NDSU playing this game? People need to keep in mind, schedules are usually completed hopefully 6 to 8 months ahead of the season starting. Not like football where they're done 5 years in advance. But when Western Illinois made the decision to leave the Summit League and go to the Ohio Valley, that opened up 2 openings on every basketball team's schedule. And so that puts people in a scramble situation where they have to make calls and take whoever has availability to play these types of games.
Wheeler Thomas on the move. Left it short. Still won't go down. And finally, Andrew Morgan puts it away.
Well, Morgan comes away with, 1 for 2, an offensive board, and 2 points. Not a bad possession.
Well, you mentioned, too, we're approaching mid-December, finals time. You get to be at home in front of your fans on a Sunday.
Exactly. And again, you challenge your team. You evaluate their mental maturity as well as their physical execution. And to this point, and I think Dave's interview showed that, I think he's pleased with how his guys are playing, considering the entirety of the environment.
Corner 3 is right down the pipe from Miller.
Yeah, I just like the ball movement. What you don't see is sloppiness. You don't see high-risk plays. Just sound, basic, good decision-making, and guys knocking down wide-open looks.
White playing a little defense on Nash Cheney. Baseline as the shot clock goes off the mark from Deacon Bach.
That's what you want if you're Dave Richmond. Just discipline. Don't bail them out with a foul late. You make them use the entire shot clock just by being in good position. That's what you want. That's what you want if you're Dave Richmond.
Dissett, Feddersen, and Burke all on the floor now for NDSU.
We talked about Derek Dissett. What a great look.
Throw it up for Burke.
Dissett as a freshman, I know Dave Richmond loves his basketball IQ and just that presence of mind and great vision as he got into the middle of the zone, knew exactly where he was looking, and Burke flying down the baseline for the alley-oop. Dissett is set up to have a great career for NDSU. I think he has a ton of upside. As we talked about, his understanding of the game is I think, ahead of his years.
Minot High's all-time leading scorer.
You think about that. There's been a lot of good players to come through Minot High School.
That's a long tradition of success at that basketball program.
It really is. You go back to the days of Gene Manson and just incredible levels of success. They've maintained it. And for Dissett to come out of there as the all-time leader, it says a lot about what he brings to the floor.
Knocked away from Burke by Bryson Keepers. And the look just taken away by Jeremiah Burke. Waddles up for Feddersen. Did he take too many steps? Nope, a foul.
Yeah, he got bodied. Nice job of running the floor. I'm going to go back to that play before. I don't know that they weren't trying to reverse the roles. I think Burke was going to throw the exact same pass to Dissett coming from the other way. You just had active hands by Oak Hills. But be heads up that may potentially happen.
Wheeler Thomas almost lost the handle on it. Dissett tries his hand in the paint. Waddles open for three. Rims out. Burke wanted to put it away. Boy, he can get up.
It just, you know, some guys have that knack, and in order to take advantage of it, he just knows where the ball's going to go. He tries to throw it down with the left hand and kind of stabilize himself by grabbing the rim. But you know, you go back to the NBA days of Rodman. There was a reason he was always around the ball, in part because his motor never let him slow down. Burke very similar at this level.
Coffee trying to go cross key. And the Bison have numbers on the move. Feddersen rising up.
That's another thing that if you're Dave Richmond and NDSU, one thing that you want to get out of this game, you want to get out of this game injury-free.
Right.
And you don't, and I mean that in a way that's not critical of anything, but those are some of the things that will happen, especially when there's this much of a variance in talent and skill level. You just don't want to see anything like that happen, right, where it's an unintentional thing and all of a sudden an injury to NDSU happens.
On either side, too.
Exactly. Either way. Either way.
Oak Hills has a lot of season left, too. They're at Kansas Christian next. NDSU gets over that 50-point mark. More than 4 minutes to go here in the first half. Coffee throws one up.
Coffee's not going to come off the floor very often for Oak Hills. He's
not a bad defensive sequence for Bison.
Yeah.
Keepers gets the rebound. Another pass taken away. Waddles. Wheeler Thomas trailing, and he'll just lay it in.
Dave Richmond took that timeout just to get some bodies on the floor. He is not worried about saving timeouts. He knows it's either going to be a media or they got to take him.
Well, he takes one here with Waddles taking it to the hoop. We'll be back in just a minute. (53-5), NDSU over Oak Hills Christian. Gotta wonder what's being said in that huddle. Getting to see a lot of different Bison in this game, and that's good to see. You know, we've seen a lot. Sam Hastrider knocks down the three. We've seen some good things from Noah Feddersen. You know, a strong take to the hoop a little bit ago.
Yeah, Feddersen has really shown some growth in his game, and you know, redshirting, which doesn't happen that often anymore. I think he really benefited from it last year, and I think it's something that he's going to continue to bring to the floor, which adds to the depth of the front court for North Dakota State. You have Strite on the floor right now, one of the better defending bigs in the league. But you combine Morgan, Feddersen with what Strite brings to the floor, and then talk about Jeremiah Burke. That's another individual,
yeah,
who just really gives you a nice level of depth on your front line.
Bison have scored 43 of the last 44 points in this game. Ash Howard trying to feed one where there's a lot of traffic, and it's taken away by Hastrider.
Yeah, that goes back to you just got to find a way to make the easy pass, and don't try to make a great one.
Hastrider, why not, with a hand in his face that time? Just not enough.
And if you have a decent ball movement, you get side to side. When that open three finds you, at least your teammates then have a chance to get on the glass, because not everybody knows where to put a body on the offensive player.
Waddles out to Ryan Sletton. Splish splash.
See the bench cheering for Sletton. They know what he brings to the floor every day, especially in practice. He doesn't get a ton of meaningful minutes, but one of those guys that creates depth. There he gets a hand on a dribble and forces the turnover and gets the run out.
Sletton again, the Larimore guy.
The Polar Bears. I think I'm right on that one. The Larimore Polar Bears, I'm pretty sure.
1,000 points in high school. One of those guys that, you know, anytime he goes and gets points, the bench is going to go crazy.
Exactly, and they have. And that shows a level of respect because they're genuinely happy for their teammate being able to be rewarded for the hours and hours he puts in.
Now it's Waddles all by himself. Finger roll to finish.
Yeah, nice look by Strite. Waddles saw it developing away from him. He took off on the backside. Strite cleaned up the turnover and saw Waddles wide open down the floor.
And Nash Cheney, a senior from Hawaii, averaged over 10 points per game last year for this Wolfpack squad.
Yeah, good job by Burke, just to stay disciplined, do the little things, move your feet. And what I like about the, oh, that almost went in. What I like about the turnovers that North Dakota State's creating, they're not doing it by gambling. They're doing it by playing just sound defense, man-to-man defense, and they're not trying to turn it into a mockery. They're just being very solid. They're getting hands on their tip basketballs, and they're not doing it without gambling and getting out of position.
Another turnover forced by Sletton, just off the mark, trying to feed Burke way up in the air.
Yeah, Sletton probably hasn't had a chance to throw a ton of those yet, but I like the fact that he was looking. Burke was sprinting down the floor. You wouldn't expect anything less from him.
Boy, that would have gotten this place on its feet. Well, I got to run over and grab Dave Richmond here once we hit zeros. Anything you want me to ask him?
Oh, you know what? Well, yeah, I think just ask him, you know, what his thoughts are on his guys. Because I think, to be honest with you, I think Dave's going to be pretty pleased with the manner in which his kids have respected what Oak Hills brings to the floor. And they haven't done anything to embarrass him. They're just playing hard-nosed, and I think that shows that, you know what, this is important for North Dakota State, and that shows a sign of maturity for his team.
Cheney left-handed scoop, final seconds, the turnover. Somebody's got to throw it up, and not in time. So that's how this first half ends. 60-5 is the Bison lead, Greg.
Well, and this is, like we say, one of those things where I give credit to NDSU and the coaching staff. They've done a heck of a job of just doing the little things right. It's just going to be this way when you're playing against Oak Hills. Just a lot of difficulty to overcome a lot of this stuff. And in the second half, you're going to challenge your guys to come out and do it at the same level. Without question, I think that's necessary. And as we get closer and closer to this halftime interview, let's just keep in mind that these kids are college kids, and they're all going to play at the highest level possible. Just a vast disparity between these two teams. Let's get over to Cullen now with his words from Coach Richmond.
Coach, take the score out of the equation. How do you assess how your guys performed?
We knew going into this game that we were a better, more talented team than Oak Hills Christian, but I'm pleased. I'm very pleased with the urgency, the discipline, the mentality. Talked a lot about maturity in this game, and I thought our guys responded with 20 minutes of maturity. We need to have that in the same mentality in the second.
How nice to get so many guys on the box score today.
Very important, and then these games benefit you in a lot of ways. That's certainly one of them.
All right, thanks, Coach. Appreciate it. Back with more coverage from WDAY Extra in just a moment. Bison men's basketball closing out a homestand against Oak Hills Christian second half, and they are up 60-5 as we welcome you back to WDAY Extra alongside Greg Steeman. I'm Colin Hold. This NDSU team hits the road starting next Sunday at Illinois State, the following Tuesday, Southern Illinois, and then December 29th is the Summit League opener. So, you know, time is of the essence to get this Bison team as ready as possible before conference play gets here, and we got 20 more minutes against this Oak Hills Christian team to get even better.
It is, and if you're Dave Richmond, you're begging your team for two things. Be disciplined, don't get hurt. Be disciplined, don't get hurt, and that's all you're asking for right now for the next 20 minutes. And Oak Hills will play hard and just For 20 more minutes, he's going to beg them to maintain their level of focus.
So glad you've chosen to spend your Sunday afternoon with us as we venture into December basketball. And the Bison, 6-4, 4-0 at home so far this season. The Wolfpack start with the ball, and a cut right down the middle. Josiah Moulton drops it in on the feed from Nash Cheney.
And I think there was a relatively noticeable round of applause from a lot of the fans. I think they're glad that they can see some success for this Oak Hills team as they now turn NDSU over.
Coffee just throws one up that hangs on the rim and falls off. DeJavis Miller grabs the rebound.
Nice job by Wheeler Thomas to get back and contest, not give up anything easy to Coffee.
There goes Bowden Skunberg, corner pocket, in and out. Cheney lets it go, catch and release. And Morgan's going to push it as he shovels it on to Miller. Up top, Wheeler Thomas. And that one's over and out.
That's a good clean look in transition, as we talked about. Miller just kind of gives him the inside out wide open look to Wheeler Thomas. We talked about it, bounces high up and over the backboard. But get clean looks if you're North Dakota State. Stay in front of them defensively. Play with your feet. Don't rely on your hands. And they've done such a very good job of that the first half.
White leaves the defender behind as he crosses the timeline. Give Wheeler Thomas another look at it, and he floats it from the free throw line and drops it in.
I really like that. Thomas had a wide open look from behind the arc, and he's more than capable to knock down threes. He's done a ton of times. So I just like the fact that, you know what, I'm so wide open and there's nobody even close to me. I'm going to get in and get a little higher percentage look. He's really not. He does a nice job with that runner, as you talked about.
Keepers gets a step, and the length of Andrew Morgan makes up for it.
Yeah, Keepers kind of got tangled up with our cameraman, but nice, got a little assist from our cameraman to get him back on the floor.
And that time he does it from beyond the arc.
Yeah, I like that. You go back to that Morgan block on the last play. Morgan knew he was going to block it. He wasn't going to bail him out with a foul. He just kind of timed it, used his length and his size to slap it off the board.
Coffee tries inside, and that's a foul going on NDSU. If they count the bucket, and they do.
Yeah, they had one opportunity, chance to. I don't say this in a ridiculing manner. It's a chance for Oak Hills to get into double digits. It's first half was certainly a struggle, but due in great part to North Dakota State playing a very disciplined level of defense, not letting them have anything easy.
We'll get outscored 5-4 to start this second half so far. Wheeler Thomas with it for NDSU. Entry pass from Morgan, knocked out of bounds as he tries to go to the corner to Skunberg. Oak Hills Christian out of Bemidji, a school founded in 1946. Their enrollment, per their website, 100 students. They've offered basketball since the late 90s. Oh, throw it up for Andrew Morgan.
Well, that's the level of explosiveness and athleticism that Morgan puts into that 6'10", 245-pound body. It is entertaining to watch, and as everybody could hear, the crowd was incredibly impressed.
Way above the rim on that inbounds play as White gets into the paint. Quick hands from Oak Hills here to start the second half. Forced a couple turnovers.
Yeah, we saw it early in the first half as well. There's a catch and shoot three in transition, a little hard.
White lets it go. That'll clip the rim. Morgan just reaches out and grabs it. And hanging all over him is Bison Keepers. So that'll send Andrew Morgan to the line. Go back and look at that. That two-handed jam again.
To the free throw line.
And as these alleys are open against zone defenses typically, and you just want to take that middle defender and get them down as close to the rim as possible. That clears things up in a wide open lane for that lob pass to Andrew Morgan.
Averaged 10.5 a game last year. Leaves the game for Noah Feddersen. 16:34 to go with a 60-point lead for NDSU. You're watching Bison basketball on WDAY Extra. NDSU football, they're still playing, and they're playing some pretty good ball, too. So they're on to the next round, and the Montana Grizz wait for them in the semis. We've got Bison Game Day live at 10 a.m. Game will be on ESPN2 with a 3:30 kickoff. A statement victory on the road at South Dakota yesterday. NDSU is just stuck with it. You know, you lose to South Dakota, you lose to UND, a lot of unhappy people in the Fargo-Moorhead area, and they have just stayed true to who they are, and now all of a sudden they're in the semis. National semifinalists again, and you know, you go back to that Cam Miller interview that we listened to at halftime, post-game, you know, the USD, just, and I know Coach Ernst has talked about the importance of player-led teams. This team has become a player-led team. And I think there's some 5th and 6th year guys, as well as some 4-year guys, 12, I think, in that senior class that I think have really taken it up a level and have a much deeper understanding of what Coach Ernst has been talking about when he says he wants player-led teams. I've seen that the last 4, 5, 6 games in this run that North Dakota State's been on. They have played like a team that is being led by some experienced guys that just don't want their careers to be over. I remember reading a quote by Jake Cava in the Fargo Forum where he said, there are no pickup football games. Right. We're done when this is over. We can't go to the Y and play 11 on 11. Yeah. And I love the maturity of Jake. I've gotten to know him in other ways. I believe he and his teammates have said, no, we are not going to settle. If we're going to go down, we're going to go down being able to put our head on the pillow, and it's been great to see with this NDSU team and the run they've been on. And they are a scary opponent for anybody in the playoffs. And Bison scary good right now, up 71-9. See you in a bit. (71-9) NDSU men's basketball over Oak Hills Christian. And NDSU women's basketball, they'll play later today, a road game at Iowa State. What a great opportunity for the Bison women in a Big 12 matchup there. There's a turnover off the inbounds play, and Dissett, he was going to foul from behind. Yeah, he was going to kind of get himself set up for the two-hand flush, and I think he just kind of lost the grip on the ball, ended up getting fouled. Yeah, great opportunity for the NDSU women. You know, lost at Drake. Drake, I think, is probably playing at a higher level in Iowa State right now. So I think NDSU women do have a shot against the Cyclones. I think Coach, I want to make sure I say it right, Finelli, I believe he retired, and I'm not sure if his son took over, or, but he was a legendary coach at Iowa State, had a ton of success there. And Burke again on the offensive glass, and another turnover as Dissett was trying to find Feddersen. What a great time for local basketball, too. I mean, I know we look at this roster, we've gotten to see some North Dakota guys. There's a lot of Minnesota guys that have been on the floor for both sides today, you know. And then you just look around the region. NDSU women's basketball, how many times have we seen Riley Simon on the news, you know, on WDAY Sports, that she's gotten in and has gotten some buckets for that Bison women team? And yeah. MSUM, Carla Nelson gets her 400th win with the Dragons a couple nights ago. I mean, this is... Cobber's men are good. MSUM men are good. Yeah, right now, and you bring up a good point. College basketball fans and high school basketball fans in this area should not take this for granted. When you look at the level of play, Carla Nelson's a legend in the Northern Sun Conference. She's done a fantastic job with that program over the years. And what the men are doing at MSUM, great find. A red shirt freshman throwing it down. Boy, he's really coming into his own. He really is. And Wheeler Thomas just led him right into that opportunity with a great bounce pass along the baseline after he got in the middle of that zone. But you go back to it, it's great to see there's more and more good high school basketball players in this region and in this state, not only North Dakota, but Northwest Minnesota. And you love to be able to see them contribute at the college level. Up and under, and Bryson keepers too deep behind the backboard. Here goes Dissett one-on-one. Lots of contact. And Feddersen finishes it off. What a sequence for him.
How about Feddersen creating his own highlight video on there, running the floor, and Dissett was contested at the rim, and Feddersen just cleans it up with the slam.
Coffee triggers the three, comes up empty-handed. Sam Hastrider is going to come back into the game for NDSU.
Yeah, tough one for Coffee. He logs a lot of minutes for this Oak Hills group, and I think his strength is probably getting to the rim and facilitating for his teammates and creating opportunities for them. And took a three. I think he's just tired right now. No surprise that his long shot was a little bit short.
Dissett surrounded, so he kicks it out, and Waddles unable to finish it off. As you mentioned, NDSU on the road starting next Sunday, a couple of games, and then the Summit League opener on the 29th against USD. Boy, fun time to be a Summit League men's basketball fan too.
It is. Just last night, South Dakota State goes down to Wichita and knocks off Wichita State, where the coach of Wichita State is now Paul Mills. Oh, Burke almost had another putback dunk. With Paul Mills, I think his Wichita State squad was off to a 7-2 start in the American Athletic Conference. SDSU goes down and shows why they were the preseason #1 and gets a road win against Wichita State. And Dave Richmond and his group, and you got ORU, who lost some key players, but is still pretty doggone good.
Right. UND, the team in Grand Forks, you kind of trying to figure out exactly what to make of them. At times they've looked so good.
Yep. And they're in a little mini 3-game losing streak as they got knocked off by Portland yesterday. But this is not last year's UND team.
Nope.
I think Paul Sather has a group that he's going to continue to work with, continue to build, and he's going to challenge them to improve on the defensive end. And I think as they do, they become a team that can be in the conversation, for a top half finish, if not higher, in the Summit League.
There goes Burke for three, and that rattles through.
I love the fact that Burke doesn't force anything, but he works for everything. And what I mean by that, he sprints the floor. He's got his feet underneath him when he gets that pass, and he's able to just step into an easy, clean three from behind the arc. But his energy level, you can never question it when he gets after it on the glass.
Jeremiah Burke, community college transfer, and when we come back, we'll pick up a game that is 80-11 in favor of NDSU. Fun to see Noah Feddersen getting above the rim. Bison up 80-11. As we welcome you back to WDAY Extra and the Shack. December basketball. There's snow on the ground, for better or for worse, however you feel about that. And the Bison are winning big.
Yeah, it is. And I think, don't fret. I think we're going to get some weather that maybe gets rid of that snow here. We're hoping, but it is that time of year. We've been spoiled a little bit with the weather up to this point. Mother Nature never lets us down and never fails to remind us of where we live.
Yeah, we were on borrowed time there for about a month. I feel like any time I talked about the weather, I had to knock on wood.
Exactly.
Good time to remind you to have that WDAY Storm Tracker app around, because we're going to get into that season where you need to know road conditions and what the weather's going to be like.
That's right. Great segue, Colin.
Yeah, I learned that in broadcasting school.
Always promoting. Always promoting. Nice job.
Such a great weather team, though, at WDAY.
I hear you, and it's not easy, especially up in this part of the country. Great hustle.
Is short, but Joshua Strite runs it down. Ball fake, and there goes Bolden Scunberg.
Again, with 10:55 left to play, and that's what you want to see is just maintain this discipline level, NDSU. Maintain this discipline level. Stay sound. Don't utilize any poor habits. basically one and done. I think there's maybe been a few offensive rebounds for Oak Hills, but very few.
And there goes Skunberg, the preseason all-conference guy. Back-to-back buckets.
Well, he has been asked to do a lot, you know, from a leadership standpoint. Dave Richmond really expects great things out of him, and Skunberg continues to deliver. And I think even at this stage of his career, I love the fact that he continues to grow as a basketball player and as a leader for this team, because he realizes in order to compete for championships and NCAA berths and the Summit, you got to have great upperclassmen leadership. And I think this NDSU team, it has developed that. And I think that's something that's going to be necessary for their success down the road.
Just 3 offensive rebounds for Oak Hills Christian. Shot clock winding down, and corner 3 with a prayer to go with it. Comes up way short.
Don't even want to know if I want to know what the points per possession are for NDSU, because it's pretty darn high. And, but to their credit, they're doing it out of discipline. They're not doing it out of shoddy, careless, reckless play. And there's a turnover again with a miscommunication on the part of Oak Hills.
You take away a couple kind of careless, sloppy turnovers early in the game, and Bison have only had 8 total in this one.
Yeah, and it's funny because I think 2 came on the first 2 possessions of the game, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely right.
And since that time, that goes back to discipline, smart play, respecting your opponent, and not getting careless or reckless.
More quick ball movement from NDSU, trying to find some space to set. Kick out, Waddles for 3. Oh, goodness. No problem there. You know, I will say this about the snow. It was nice last night. Grab a cup of hot chocolate and drive around, look at all the holiday lights that everybody has put up. A little snow on the ground. I will say, because I'm from California, I'm still naive enough to kind of like having snow on the ground at the holiday time.
I get it. You just don't like 6 feet of it in the middle of January and February, right?
Right. We can get rid of it after the holidays are over. After New Year's, we can clean that up and get that out of here. I'm fine with it. But hey, you know, for the holidays,
you appreciate the festiveness of having a white Christmas.
Now, I don't know if I would if I had grown up in this area.
You know what? I've grown up here. I still love white Christmas. So I'm right there with you. That's what it's all about. And I won't complain if there isn't any snow, but I think it makes it a little bit more Christmassy when there is.
Now, don't get me wrong. Christmas lights on palm trees are nice and all, but it just... You don't see a lot of that in the movies.
I'm with you. That one commercial where the Feliz Navidad, where it's that little bungalow out there with the, flips the lights on.
Right.
I could handle that for a Christmas or 2.
Okay.
Yeah. There you see the reach after the turnover.
Well, it's now an 80-point lead with 8:10 to go. We've got another timeout.
I'm going to bet that you are never going to say that again in a basketball game that you're broadcasting. I mean, that's going on a limb, but you're not. I'm going to tell you in your career, if you ever do say, well, it's an 80-point lead, again, let me know.
I'll text you.
Yeah.
Say, hey, you told me this was never going to happen.
Exactly.
And it's here again.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back in a little while. See ya. NCC2A, that's the National Christian College Athletic Association, and they play in the NIAC Conference. They do not play Division I basketball, and NDSU is taking care of business so far. That's Greg Steeman. I'm Colin Holt, and we're glad that you're still with us on this Sunday afternoon.
You know, Colin, I asked, a question that I thought was kind of maybe rhetorical, going, I wonder what the points possession are. Well, our fantastic production crew, of course, figures it out. And it just went up, but before that shot, it was 1.625 points per possession. you will not lose many games if when you're that efficient offensively.
Yeah, no.
We are edging up, moving towards 1.7. It's 1.649. So we have the points per possession meter going in the production truck.
Joshua Strite to Waddle's contested three. And Strite's able to get it to drop through the cylinder.
Well, I love the fact that Strite not only made the pass, then he sees a lane, gets to the front of the rim, and corrals the miss, almost with the putback dunk. Regardless, it was 2 more. This is one of those games where if you're the clock operator, which we have great clock operator here at NDSU, and probably changes from time to time, but you know, on that whistle, you let that extra 1 or 2 seconds run off.
Okay.
After maybe started a little early here and there.
Well, 128 is the single game points record as the shot clock buzzer goes off and Dissett clangs it off the iron, but good hustle to get it back for Sam Highstrider. So we're far from that.
But I gotta believe margin of victory.
That's what I'm checking.
Yeah. Wes Offerman, he knows everything NDSU men's basketball. I'm pretty sure he'll probably point that out if that ends up being the case. Great job by Dissett just to stay with it. It might have hurt the points per possession missing that first close range, but he got another offensive rebound added to the point total, and now he takes advantage of a turnover. Good decision, pulls it up.
Highstrider hands it off to Dissett.
Oak Hill just staying in this 2-3 zone, trying to match up as best they can. Great take by Dissett through the contact and one.
He's finally gets his second basket of the night. He's been active and has touched the ball a lot, but not a lot of scoring. But that's a tough bucket right there.
Into the line for the Herd. 15. Jonathan Hitson returns to the Wolfpack. Basket was good, but
and there is the 100-point mark as well.
Yeah, the century mark, 100-11. I've never seen a score like that before.
It's the 6th time this season. So NDSU's record for most points scored in a game, 128 against Mayville State back in 08. Largest margin of victory. That file does not exist in the NDSU men's basketball archives. But
Yeah,
this is a pretty big margin.
Yeah, that's probably okay. We can. Oh, again, I think there's fans in the stands here, North Dakota State fans, that would like to see a shot or two go down for Oak Hills. They've been close on a number, but just it's been a mighty struggle for this team to find ways to get the ball to go through the basket.
And you know, decent-sized crowd on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Get to see this team play.
I think they have I think they kind of had the Bison buddies in town as well. So I think, or in the arena today as well. So I think I think they probably got free admission to this game. So you got mom and or dad bringing the kids that are maybe taking part in the NDSU Bison Buddy youth basketball clinics. Got to come up with creative ways to get butts in the seats sometimes for some of these games. Highstrider does what he does, catch and shoot off a good ball movement. I've never said anything like this before. The margin up to 95 now.
106-11. We have breaking news. Coming to us courtside right now, WDAY's Logan Campbell has confirmed NDSU football coach Matt Entz accepting another coaching position. A team meeting is imminent, so stay tuned to WDAY TV and Inforum.com for more information. Major breaking news on the NDSU beat right here. As we go to break, we'll come back with more of this basketball game, and keep it tuned to WDAY and Extra for more info on that too. The Nodak Insurance Company Player of the Game in a bit. There is Mike McFeely of the Fargo Forum, who is always on the NDSU beat, taking in the game as a spectator today. And again, as we told you right before the break, breaking news out of NDSU Athletics. Bison head football coach Matt Entz accepts coaching job at another school. That's accredited to WDAY's Logan Campbell, her exclusive reporting. And a team that's going to play in the national semifinal in Montana on Saturday.
It is, and we've seen it happen before this time of year. You go back to the Kleiman situation, and you know where it happens in the middle of a playoff run. Typically, what you've got is football players at NDSU where this is not necessarily unexpected because coaches are in demand, and it emphasizes the importance more than ever of being a player-led team, saying, you know what, regardless of who's standing on the sidelines, we know the things we have to do if we want to keep our season going.
And again, keep it tuned to WDAY news at 5:30 and 10. Inforum.com for up-to-the-minute coverage. I'll have a team meeting.
Yeah, those are always things that they can work for you or against you. I think this program has established kind of the baseline of we know how to handle these things. We know how to move forward. And our guys are going to be just fine. And I think that this team will demonstrate that, even though they're playing against a very, very ominous foe in the University of Montana at their stadium in front of about 26,000 people. These guys will handle it as well as anybody can.
And meanwhile, Bison taking care of business on the basketball court here at the Shack, 106-11 as we get under the 3-minute mark. And Lance Waddles, who has 19 points. Bison have spread the scoring around, and everybody that has checked into the game has gotten into the points column on the box score for NDSU.
Well, that's what you like to see, and to be honest with you, there are not a lot of things, if you're Dave Richmond, that you're upset about after this. And you and I talked off air before the game. These are almost, there's nothing to gain by doing these games, and so the only thing that can happen is you can do some damage. His kids avoided that. They did not take a step backwards. I think they played very disciplined. They're going to get some time off as they prepare for that road trip to the state of Illinois, as the entire crowd acknowledges a three-point basket by
Andrew Levin, the freshman out of White Bear Lake.
And he's got a smile on his face too, and good for them. Good for them. Cuts the deficit to 92.
Pass Strider to the corner. Wide open three won't fall for Ryan Sletton, but they clean it up anyway.
I like the idea by Hastrider. Got it in the middle, set his teammate up in the corner, Sletton for a clean look at a three. Just rattled in and out, but Hastrider able to clean it up. But no, in a no-win situation, Dave Richmond found a way to get some value out of this game, and people might shake their heads, but no, this team played mature. They played disciplined. They did not break down into undisciplined bad habits. Credit to them. I think that speaks highly of their maturity. Now someone's going to have to take this turnover, and Lance Waddles agrees to put it in his stat column. Usually they'll flip that to a freshman right before the shot clock. So they got to deal with the turnover.
Keep the plus minus down.
Exactly.
And hopefully when NDSU gets it back, they'll be able to just hang on and let this one run out. A little ways to go. This will be Bison basketball. That's about a 3-second difference between shot and game clock.
Yeah, and the end is near. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel and get out of there injury-free and get out of here, I think, playing a very disciplined game. Those are the two things Dave Richmond wanted. This team accomplished it for him.
Lance Waddles leads the way, 19 points, 15 each for Jeremiah Burke and Damari Wheeler-Thomas as well. We've got some post-game interviews coming your way after the handshake line, too. And again, a reminder, breaking news, NDSU football coach Matt Entz is accepted at another school. They'll have a team meeting. Keep it tuned to WDAY and Inforum.com as that story develops. This one goes final at 108-14 in favor of NDSU men's basketball. And we'll talk to the Bison in just a bit, Greg.
Sounds good. And Dave Richmond kind of telling the coach thank you, and he knows it's a difficult situation for his team to be dominated in that manner, and it's just, you can't, there's nothing you can do because the levels are so distinctly different. But I'm going to go back to and give a lot of credit to the maturity level of this NDSU men's basketball team, that they did not fall into anything that I think in any way embarrassed what Oak Hills has the ability to bring to this floor. And you don't see that all the time, and it's so hard to find a number of things, a number of good things. You see both teams getting together at half court, and Oak Hills Christian Academy is they are there, and their faith is a big part of what allows them to get their education and also use athletics as an opportunity to profess what's important to them. So as we wait here for a few seconds, Cullen will be able to grab Dave Richmond when he comes out of that group. And I think Dave's probably going to have some positive things to say about this group.
Thank you for
Cullen?
today's game. Your NDSU men's basketball team.
Well, thanks, Greg. Coach, this game, everybody that got into that points column, how happy does that make you?
It makes me feel great. It does. I get the narrative right. We're superior to this team, but we handled ourselves like men. I asked them yesterday to start the process to be mature. They carried that over here this afternoon. We obviously have bigger fish to fry down the road, but this sets the tone for a good week of practice.
What needs to happen between now and Summit League play?
Urgency, right? Maturity, continuing growth to get better. No matter what happened in this game, we were going to come back to the table tomorrow and get better. It starts tomorrow. We got a big weekend coming up.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach. I appreciate it. Let's get Ryan Sletton in here, our player of the game. Ryan, come over here. Hey, how fun was this? You get everybody on the bench, everybody into the game, and everybody into the stat sheet as well.
You know, it's a lot of fun getting everybody involved like this. A great crowd here. Yeah, it was just a great team win today. Yep.
When you get to see those highlight reel plays stack up like this in a game like that, how much momentum does that give you into the next games and beyond?
You know, it gives us a lot, especially these next couple weeks facing some two tough Illinois teams in the Missouri Valley. So it means a lot for us to get going into the regular season too. So.
And for you personally, in a game like this, you get to get in, make a difference, play with a bunch of different guys. How much does that mean to you, at home especially?
It means a lot. I love getting in the games, and yeah, it just means a lot coming from Larimore, North Dakota. So, yeah.
Thanks so much, Ryan. Appreciate it. Enjoy this one as well. Final score, 108-14. NDSU men's basketball beats Oak Hills Christian as well. Let's go back courtside to Greg Steeman as we wrap this one up.
Well, thanks, Cullen. And as Dave Richmond talked about, he's very proud of his group. They took a step forward maturity-wise today, and it was great to see Sletton. And there you see the upcoming broadcast schedule. Well, I might have missed it, but there's some more games coming up. There you are, women's basketball. Central Michigan, I believe, December 20th. Men's Summit League home opener, USD, on the 29th. Then you got Montana with a return trip to Fargo after NDSU knocked them off out in Missoula. And the women will be hosting Northern Arizona on January 6th.
A lot of basketball coming your way, including we got high school stuff on WDAY Extra 2. Again, big news out of NDSU football. Inforum.com and WDAY is the place to be. Thanks so much for being with us as NDSU puts on a clinic today, 108-14 against Oak Hills Christian before they hit the road. For our entire crew, Logan Campbell with exclusive reporting from multiple sports today. Greg Steeman sitting alongside me. Eric Bedell running things in the truck. I'm Colin Holt. We'll catch everybody next time.